Hey there, this is Talk About It Tuesday podcast. You're listening to August 2023 episode. We have Molly Creed for our guest today. She's the Senior Program Manager over at LACI, Los Angeles Cleantech Incubator, and she focuses on the incubation services. In this episode, we talk about what LACI is and how they help the green economy. Without further ado, let's talk about it, community. Thank you, Molly, for being here today. And I just wanted to give you the floor to tell us about yourself and your role at LACI.
Yes, absolutely. And apologies for the mouthful. It is many words because we do very many things. But yes, my name is Molly Crete. I have been in the entrepreneurship startup ecosystem all of my career, starting in college by educating youth on the principles of entrepreneurship, teaching them the skills of how to turn their hobbies into paying jobs and careers and startups, and then kind of transitioned my way into working with several different nonprofits that are educating, supporting, providing resources to startups across many different industries. I found my way to the Los Angeles Cleantech Incubator, better known as LACI, which we will refer to moving forward, just because of the amount of words. But LACI, I joined LACI about 2.5 years ago. Started as the pipeline coordinator, which is really the role to get startups interested in the many programs that we offer and support them through the application and onboarding process here at LACI, and then have transitioned to sort of being the manager of two different programs that we have involved here. So as a manager for startups, you can imagine that as anything under the sun, I feel LACI operates in the same way as startups do as well, where you wear many different hats. You are running full steam ahead at all times. And so that can look anything from providing resources for accounting and legal to our startups, to getting them connected to the investment community and through our investments team, supporting them through curriculum and different workshops that we offer, and then making sure that they have the support that they need, not only from the entire LACI team, but also our executive residences as well. So they get matched with a mentor that they work with for the duration of their programming, so that we're just giving them everything that they possibly need to be able to scale, to go to market faster, and to potentially get that follow-on funding that we all so very much need in order to keep our businesses growing.
Wow. So you do a lot there at Lacey, I'm hearing. I just love everything that Lacey does, and I kind of know it well because I've been trying to find Recycle Church's role in Lacey and all of that. But I know my community, sometimes when we say it, they're not exactly sure all of the things that Lacey does. So maybe in a concise-ish way, you can say the mission or goals of Lacey. They're in the downtown community, and then also your personal mission there.
Yeah, absolutely. I will try my best to keep it concise. And potentially we can share a resource or a slide at least that we talk through a lot that goes through our mission. But in a nutshell, LACI's mission is to build an inclusive green economy with a focus on Southern California. And what we mean by inclusive green economy is that we are working to build up not only the green workforce, but the technology and innovation that we can offer to build a cleaner, greener ecosystem in the communities that we live in. So our priorities within that technology are within transportation. So looking for zero emission transportation solutions, clean energy, which can be different sources of energy generation or energy storage systems. There's a lot that can fall into that category, as well as smart and sustainable cities with the focus on the circular economy, which is how we have met here and continue to engage throughout that. So in order to accomplish those three, we have three strategies. So we call all those the pillars here at LACI, which is the unlocking innovation pillar, which is where I sit and my team sits. So this is all of our startup facing work, where our programs live. We're also our investments team. We have two funds that we offer to our portfolio companies and some ecosystem partners as well. And then this is also where we have a lot of our executive resident coaches and the resources that they provide as well. So through the startups, we are able to also encourage and support market transformation. And that team or that pillar is really heavily involved in our work within pilots, policy, and partnerships. So as a clean tech startup, a lot of what you need to do is prove and validate that your technology works. And the way that we do that is through pilots. So not only are we supporting our startups and doing their kind of initial pilot engagements, but we're doing community benefit pilots where we're working with some of these partners in order to just accelerate clean tech within the ecosystems. And of course, in order to sustain and support this long-term growth, we are working on the workforce sort of up front. So we have another pillar, which we called enhancing community. So this not only supports the pilot work with the community partners that we engage with, we also have several different workforce development programs where we're training individuals, whether they have traditionally worked in gas and oil to transition to the green workforce, but also trying to understand what type of skills are needed from our startups in order to train those individuals that they could potentially hire at the end of the day. So doing a lot of work with the community in order to build up those programs. And this is also the pillar where we have a focus on providing more resources through our Women in Clean Tech group, which I believe we'll talk about in a little bit later. So I won't spend too much time there. But in a nutshell, what we really want to do is provide impact on our communities with, again, that focus on Southern California, but beyond California in general, by providing impact within the environment, of course, economic and social. So how can we build more diversity within our startup teams, but also how can we support the economic growth of the city of Los Angeles and Southern California at large? So that's LACI in a nutshell. I would say, because I sit within the Unlocking Innovation team, which is all about startups, my personal mission is to see these startups go from ideation stage, if that's where they're at, or just that initial prototype, to actually like full scale commercial build where they're growing a team, where they're manufacturing here in the US. But I think if anything, it's amazing for me to be a part of the journey by understanding and knowing these founders on the front end and giving them a community, a network, an abundance of resources, and just continuing trying to iterate on that so that we can see these companies scale and truly succeed beyond sort of the support of the LACI family.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things is that you all focus on the workforce as well, because I hear a lot of people saying, coming from the consumerism side of things, a lot of people say, we're transitioning, but we don't even have the workforce for it. And it's like, no, there are training programs in place right now that people can pursue. They just need to choose to pursue it. So I really love that. And I know that you also support different companies that, train different workforces and individuals as well. So it's like an ecosystem within and out of itself there at LACI. So that's what I really love, right? When someone gets connected with your program, whether it be through Cleantech or a number of programs that you guys offer, you really do become a part of your family, which is so important for a community to have a location like this to not only like you're saying, the long term and the longevity of a sustainable community, but also just having those connections to start this green economy is really, really important. Showing a map, if you will, of what could happen.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's like circular economy is one of the focuses, but I truly think that LACI has that like full circular approach to the work that we do, which is so important because it's, sometimes policy is the biggest prohibitor in order to get technology over the finish line. So the fact that we have a team that's working on, supporting different bills that we've been able to put forward, the infrastructure bill was a huge one for a lot of our clean tech startups. And so that work, as well as the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, like all of these things as an incubator, because we have this source of, we've serviced over 375 startups, but right now in our active portfolio, we probably have like 50 to 60 that are close, that we know kind of what's going on on a weekly basis with them. And so if we can understand more what the startups are seeing and their expertise, right? They are the expert on their technology. That's not us. But if we can get the insights from the ground up in order to, bring that to the state of California, to bring that to the local city of LA government, and city council meetings, and so that we can see and give examples of not only how that workforce is happening and how we're training those, but the success stories and the challenges and the hiccups that are happening sort of on a policy level, in order to get that. So yeah, not only just like the workforce development piece too, but I think with me, and I'll continue to always talk about the startups because that's definitely where my heart and passion lives. But we are allowing those opportunities to give individuals like resume support, certifications after this workforce development program has completed so that they have a higher chance of getting a job that can support them. Or, we on the back end, we're still supporting the startups and getting external capital. That's what works for them. So can the startups actually hire that person who just went through a paid internship that LACI's provided? So like, again, that circular approach always comes back to the work that we're doing. And I think the biggest thing with LACI too is not only are we doing it within our own ecosystem here, but the support that we provide like widespread with our partners and with the local and state government agencies is only going to make this green economy happen faster and quicker together, right?
Exactly. And what I love, Molly, is the data that you all focus on as well for your incubation program, and really giving the companies that time to see how is this going to react to the people around you, to the community that you're trying to bring this product to or this solution to. So I love that as well. I just wanted to touch upon that. Is it a year pilot program that you give them, or what is the time frame that you give them?
Yeah, super good question. So it depends on the program. So we have four different programs. Well, five, sorry. We have five programs that we operate in the Unlocking Innovation team. So the startup facing program. We have our Founders Business Accelerator, which is actually the one program that is not hyper focused on clean tech. This is a focus on small business owners within the city of LA. So that can be anything from an individual making jewelry and selling it at a flea market to a restaurant that's been in operation for decades, but they need a community, they need support, and we provide the same amount of resources that we do to those small business owners like we do in our incubation program. So Founders Business Accelerator is one, it's 6 months long. We do support with some kind of ideation around pilots, but you can think that small businesses aren't typically thinking about pilot as a way to sort of vet their technology, but how can we help them sort of get their finances in order and how they can plan and forecast, longevity, but also just giving them that community, that family, I think is a really important piece of Founders Business Accelerator. And then we have our Innovators program. This is free. So both free, Founders Business Accelerator and Innovators, for the individuals to participate in. Innovators is 1 year long. This is what we call our sort of light touch network access program, because we meet on a quarterly basis for different workshops. Typically, we try to focus on something related to grants and funding, because we know that these kind of pre-prototype stage companies are really just working on building out that initial MVP. So trying to give them support and how to figure out how to expense that and how to build out a team to do so, and sort of just giving them additional resources. They do get matched with an EIR, executive in resident, and we provide a little bit of support, and also just that, like, again, that first little toe touch into a clean tech ecosystem within LA. So for that program, we're looking for companies that are headquartered in the Los Angeles County, Orange County, Ventura, and I always forget one, Santa Barbara. So that program is 1 year long. We do not provide funding for pilots, but help them give just some ideas and resources of how they can start to think about it. And we really hope that these two programs end up being a feeder into our incubation program, which is somewhat of our core just because of the nature of how LACI started. Incubator is in our name, but it's also sort of speaking to the traditional format of an incubation program. So this is 2 years long. We do start to take a small percentage of equity in the form of a warrant for these companies, no more than 3%, but this is where we're starting to provide that value in not only monetary resources, so actually giving funding for a pilot. So typically the small scale pilot that we help provide, which is in like pilot design and setting the right KPIs and like how do you measure it and like that whole process and how do you find a partner and all those things to the actual funding to execute on it. So those are typically the pilot execution phase is typically 6 months, but again, we're doing a couple of months of just like planning and understanding, getting some partners involved and some of our other teammates to really help like define how we think of a pilot, which in some cases literally just like an educational demonstration sometimes, right? It's just like, hey, I want to show you that it works and want you to kind of get on board to help us kind of do it again. And a lot of times we see these pilots turn into either a paid contract with that partner that they tested it with, or it's a like a stepping stone or a kind of a benchmark for them to do larger commercially paid pilots, or commercially scaled pilots. So we just see the importance of really validating your technology. So incubation, we're kind of looking for them to already have a working MVP in place so we can actually do some of that piloting and get them ready for external investment relations. And then we have a market access program, which is our latest stage program. So this one is for companies that are typically have fundraised Series A and maybe above. They have a pretty significant team at this point, and what they're coming to the market access program with is large scale community benefit pilots within the Los Angeles region. So sometimes we see companies that are not headquartered in California, but see a strategic angle in having business within Los Angeles and sort of using LACI as a way to support some of that expansion. But also, it's technology that we're really aware of that is aligned with some of the goals that we've seen in our conversations with the city of LA or the state of California, or some of these plans that we have for electrifying LA before the 2028 Olympics. All of those things kind of relate. So how can we get some of that top technology and really through the benefit of our team and the resources that we have, help them to expand the business for the company, but also for kind of the work that we're doing in LA. So that program, it definitely is not like one shoe fits all. There's a lot of different unique factors that go into how we plan that program, but that program is typically 18 months long, but it's very dependent on sort of the time frame of the pilot and what kind of makes the most sense for that company. But those are the four core ones. And then the fifth is just, I'll mention it because I think it relates to a lot of the work that we're doing with women in clean tech and sort of around our social and economic impact metrics that we care about, which is what we call our equity innovation program. And this is a program where we source the founders who have already been involved in our active portfolio that identify as a woman leader, or a person of color, or someone who traditionally just doesn't get the same amount of resources as some of our counterparts. So the equity innovation program is really there to provide additional funding for pilots, if that makes sense, additional mentor hours, and just that like additional lever of support to really just help them kind of get over the finish line or get to whatever it is that they might be needing. So that is the fifth. We've been doing that for 2 years. And again, it's really just an additional stepping stone or additional resource for our underrepresented founders.
I really love that LACI's always moving forward and adding new things to their programming when they see a gap in it and something comes up that they need to work on, they innovate and they work on it. So that's really, really important, especially for an incubator. You definitely have to stay on your toes for sure. So you mentioned the Women in Clean Tech program. Can you go in a little bit more about this and just how does this help the women pursue their dreams in clean tech and things like that? So
yeah, absolutely. So Women in Clean Tech, let me see, I think it was founded in 2018 as a kind of solution to fill the gap that we're seeing in the support that women, and especially women in clean tech. Clean tech is quite a niche industry. It's definitely expanded over the last couple of years, just due to us literally witnessing climate change in front of our eyes and noticing that we need to do something about it. But I think with a lot of the work that's been done at the highest, at the federal government level. And so Women in Clean Tech is, our mission is really to be able to provide more resources to women within this space. It's a focus within LACI's diversity, equity, and inclusion metrics as well, and how we're trying to provide that not only with our team, but with the startups that we have as well. So it's supporting women with accelerating their clean tech solutions, with giving them more sectoral expertise, and then career growth. Because not only are we seeing, women is not just necessarily defined as a founder who owns a clean tech solution, but it could be a participant that's graduated from our workforce development programs or is interested in getting more involved. This is a really great way for individuals to just sort of tap into the LACI ecosystem that are not necessarily a part of our programs. I think you're a perfect example of that. It's a way that we offer different workshops and events that just bring this community together. And so pre-pandemic, we did a lot of this work in person. We took a pause on that and did monthly virtual meetups. And now we've seen, just last summer, we did a summer series in collaboration with Found LA. And we really were looking at what is the needs from our women founders. We survey them every year to figure out what are the top challenges? What do you want to hear more of? What's an angle or a situation that you really could use more support with? And then we design our programming around those answers. So we want it to be as relatable and valuable as possible to the women within our network. So the topics that we bring and the guest speakers that we bring is also a collaborative effort too. This is a group that all of us at LACI volunteer our time to support with. It's not necessarily something that's a part of all of our job descriptions, but you can imagine just by the people that are involved and that are on the team at LACI feel so passionate about this work, because we really want to see the acceleration, and we want to change some of these statistics. We want to make it possible to get over this 2% threshold of women receiving investment, and get them beyond the kind of ideology of no within the investment community, but also just how can we give them access to creating a social media reel that is fun and still informative and kind of gets the point across. So little nuggets of information just to help them. And then of course that community of women, and the community of all genders are welcome actually, but just really how can we lift up this community and get them closer to the goals that they have. So we have so many events that always happen for women in clean tech, and all are welcome. I'll have to double check with the team on exactly what's coming up next. But essentially we sort of start with our community here within the LACI ecosystem, those that have graduated that are involved in our program now. And then we reach out to some of our community partners as well to see if we can give some of their constituents some support as well. So I know right before I left on vacation, we did a social media workshop. So from our social media guru here at LACI, Vince really just talked through what's happening in the world right now, where are the great places to post that are related to your company. Every company is different. So, for me, I think that LinkedIn and Twitter are great resources for startups, but some people, Instagram is your way to get customers, or to continue talking about your company because you have that content. Clean tech isn't as sexy as a beautiful piece of jewelry or, some of the circular economy fashion that we've seen sort of upcycled or recycled. So it's a little bit harder to talk to on an Instagram reel, but anyways, that's just an example of some of the support that we provide. And we are always looking for, sponsors and different partners to support some of these events and really make it engaging. I know we did some work with US Bank as well, just in these last couple of surveys to provide more support on financials. So yeah, please come and get involved.
That's amazing. So I'm going to hop over a couple of questions just because we're running out of some time here because we have so much that LACI does that we had to cover. But I just wanted to go and just say, let's hop right into how can individuals with solutions get involved with the LACI program and Incubator program particularly.
Yeah, absolutely. So our timing is a bit wonky, but we have recruitment cycles and applications that are open at various points throughout the year. So our incubation program, we recruit for twice a year. So our applications are currently closed. We're in the final stages of our diligence process, actually, to figure out who the next cohort's going to be. But typically you would apply, or you can connect with our pipeline team. Super easy. You can just do pipeline at LACI, LACI.org. And anytime you can reach out about when recruitment is open, when applications will go live again, or just to talk to them, explain what you're doing with your company, and figure out if LACI is the right fit for you. So definitely recommend that. But typically we announce those dates, have active links available on LACI's social channels. So definitely follow LACI, sign up for our newsletter, get in the loop with some of our events. And that's a really great way for you to just sort of start to know some of the LACI team, but also be really well aware of like what's coming up for us that is publicly available. So unfortunately, we don't have any applications live right now, but we'll start that recruitment process very soon for incubation. So stay in touch, follow us, like the stuff that we're doing, stay engaged that way, and we'll open up applications soon.
Yeah, and definitely check the comments below this episode. We're going to have all those connections there, the email, all the social media to connect with. So definitely check out those comments and get connected. And the description of the episode. Check out the description of the episode so you can see those links. So I just wanted to hop right into our last question that I love asking every single guest we have on Talk About It Tuesday podcast. So if you had one wish for the future of the planet in general, what would that wish be?
I'm so glad you sent me these questions in advance, Ashley, because that's a hard one that I would not have been able to think of on my toes. But after having a bit of time to reflect, I think the one thing that just frustrates me is that I would really love to change is having an honest recycling system. I feel like we all think that we're doing it right by separating our plastics and cleaning it out and putting it in the blue bin and not putting it in the trash can, but it still feels like such a myth because we have no idea where it goes. And then we see all these crazy stats and images of how it is affecting, countries, states within the United States, but definitely worldwide. And the landfills are over full. Like we don't have any more space for them. It's not a good solution for keeping trash contained either. So if we can figure out a way that everything is transitioned to being compostable, or just like plastic is just eliminated entirely, like that would be my dream. I know it doesn't happen overnight. I know we're doing a lot of work now to make sure that that does happen. Thank you for adding like compost bins to our individual houses. Like those are some of the steps to take, but I do think we still have a long way to go, where we all feel good about it. We don't have to create more solutions of organizing and breaking down plastics, and we just can eliminate that entirely, keep our beaches safe, keep carbon monoxide from not emitting from those landfills, and just keeping all of our bodies healthy and happy. So that's my lofty, if I could have everything in the world happen, that.
Yeah, I mean, that's so good. That's why I like asking the question, especially in advance, so people have time to think of it, because I mean, the solutions are out there, like we always say, and I do believe that an honest recycling system can happen, but I know for sure our consumption sometimes overtakes the recycling system we have in place. So it's about working with all of it, right? It's like we all have to work together to understand how we can better the planet's future. So yeah, thank you so much, Molly, for joining us on Talk About It Tuesday. And we hope that LACI and all of your incubation programs are successful this year and this round. We're very excited to see who gets chosen. And yeah, stay in touch. Community, definitely follow LACI and all that they're doing.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. This was fun. Appreciate it.
Wow, thank you so much, Molly, for all of that information about LACI and how they help this green economy flourish in LA. I hope you all watched, listened, and learned from this incredible mind. I hope you join us next episode on all things secondhand September and sustainable fashion. Of course, those go hand in hand. Remember, our episodes are released monthly on the last Tuesday of every month. The last Tuesday of every month. Until next time, community, let's never stop talking about it.